Hello all, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Zendesk Lunch and Learn. We'll give everyone a few moments to trickle in and then get started. Good morning all, happy Tuesday. Thanks for hopping on today with us for our Zendesk Lunch and Learn. We'll give it just another moment or two for people to trickle in and then we'll get going. All right, it is that time, 11 a.m. Pacific, and whatever time zone it is for you, you want to put in the chat where you are so we all know where we're coming from. That's always fun. But good morning, welcome to Zendesk Lunch and Learn today. Us and our partners are really excited to share with you a little bit more about Zendesk, what our product is, and show you a live demo as well. As always, we'll have a question and answer portion at the end. So if you have questions that come up during the demo or during the presentation, please ask them in the chat or in the Q&A feature, and we'll make sure to get those answered. I'm excited to have Michael Varamo, our Director of Sales Enablement, and Arik Mandel, our Senior Solutions Consultant, here to present for you all. Super quick on what the webinar will entail, brief introduction, and what is Zendesk and why is Zendesk, and we'll do the demo and the Q&A. So that's all from me. I will pass it over to Michael to get started.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share just a couple of brief slides about what Zendesk is and why Zendesk is an organization that you'll want to do business with. Can you all see my screen okay? Sarabella, if you'll give me a yay or nay.
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks, folks. We're a customer experience, a employee experience kind of company. It's all about customer support, Salesforce automation, and help desks. And that may not sound really exciting to a whole bunch of you, but you know, every business has a support center. Every business has a help desk. Every business somewhere has employees that are struggling to use technology to communicate with your customers. And that's really something that Zendesk wants to improve. We also have, of course.
Hey, Michael, sorry, I think I jumped the gun there. I think, yeah, I don't see your screen. I see you though.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and share that. Pardon me. There we go.
Sorry about that.
Excellent. No problem. Customer experience. That's the slide you should all see here. What you can expect from Zendesk is making a customer experience better. You know, we find at Zendesk, for example, that those businesses that focus on giving a solid customer experience, an easy customer experience, they tend to excel. They tend to succeed. They're the ones that adapt to the demands that an economy thrusts upon them, that circumstances thrust upon them. I mean, the pandemic was the greatest example where things changed overnight in how business was done. And organizations that were able to pivot, to be mobile, to change rapidly, well, they succeeded. And so Zendesk is a software as a service platform focused on customer support and Salesforce automation, CRM. And we enable businesses to interact with their customers better and to make their own agents, their own support centers more productive. And that's a powerful thing because it's all about productivity. You know, I worked on the service desk for a long time, and It drove me insane using some of the crazy technologies we had to employ. It was chaos and it wasn't fun. And I'm not convinced that I was the best customer service agent when people called in. That's a real challenge. I mean, that's a negative perception that I was giving to the business. And people might have left, they might have defaulted, they might have gone away. And employees have the same experience, when they call up a help desk internally. And if they're calling in to a support center that isn't intuitive and integrated and easy to interact with, well, then they get frustrated. And, they do social media quips and they post on Glassdoor. And it's just one big cascading set of negativity. There's a lot of vendors in this space, tons of vendors. I've worked for a bunch of these, in fact. Customer support isn't new. This is a mature market. CRM is not new. It's a mature market. And the real reason folks come to Zendesk, the competitive differentiator, is that Zendesk is so simple to use, to implement, to teach people to use, to administer, that you don't need an army of developers, an army of administrators and report writers and analysts to make the technology work. I mean, I can honestly train anyone to use Zendesk in a matter of hours. And in fact, we have customers that have switched their entire service center, thousands of agents, to using Zendesk in a matter of days and weeks versus months or years. And as you look at the variety of vendors that I'm showing on my screen here, that's just not a common experience. And so Zendesk provides a phenomenal total cost of ownership, a phenomenal return on investment. Our technology is absolutely cutting edge with the rest of these vendors. The real interesting thing, though, the real differentiator is how simply it installs, implements, deploys, is able to be configured such that you don't have these massive project plans that go on for years and months and all this crazy testing and development work. Zendesk just kind of goes up and working, and we add a Zen to the equation. We make the chaos of a service management deployment, of a service management center, we make that chaos orderly. We make it harmonious. And there's no other vendor that really does that in this space. And I don't imagine that that's something that people often consider when they're licensing software. You just want to go for the features and functions, but you got to ask yourself, how long will it take me to be up and running so that I can offer a competitive differentiator in my customer service? How long will it take before we can go to market and be the type of customer experience and employee experience that we want to offer our folks? Zendesk does that in days to weeks, not months to years. And that's really our big differentiator. And that's really what Zendesk is all about. That's why we're called Zendesk. Kind of cheesy, but kind of true. So let me go ahead and stop my sharing and hand it off to my colleague, Ark, who's going to show you some of this technology. Keep in mind as you see it, that it gets up and running in no time and that people can administer and implement and deploy this in no time at all. Ark.
Awesome. 1 second here as I share my screen.
We see Zendesk solution overview.
Yep. All right, perfect. So real quick here, we're going to go through a quick overview of the solution before hopping into the product, so you guys have an idea of what I'm going to be demoing, in addition to some of the different aspects of the system. So starting here, we have the Zendesk family of products, and these include things like support, which is going to be the agent workspace that you're going to see primarily for most of the demonstration, where the ticket is going to come in, where your agent's going to really live for the most of the time when they're using Zendesk, and they're going to have access to a lot of data within that support instance. From there, we're also going to show you Guide, and Guide is a self-service tool where your customers will have a chance to remedy a problem that they're having on their own. And if they can't find that solution within the Guide or that knowledge base, they will be able to reach out to a live agent. And that's going to be apparent in the demonstration here as well. We also have our chat, which is going to be the chat bot that's going to pop up within the Guide, and we'll see how that interaction is going to work. And then for a brief moment, I will also demonstrate Talk, which is our telephony solution. So I'll show a call being initiated from Zendesk to my cell phone. And we also do integrate with third-party telephony solutions as well, in case you were wondering, such as Cisco or RingCentral. And then we have Explore. This is a built-in analytics tool baked into the Zendesk solution. And that's important because as these tickets are being entered in the system, as they're being serviced, we want to get an idea of how quickly and how efficient our agents are acting. So we'll see some reporting there at the end. And then a couple of things here at the bottom, which I'm not going to be demoing today, but just you have an idea of what we do offer. We also have Zendesk Sell, which is our CRM solution. We have Zendesk Gather, which is a community forum solution, which empowers customers to connect and collaborate with one another. We have Sunshine, which is what our platform is built upon, which is an open API flexible platform. And then we have Sunshine Conversations. And with Sunshine Conversations, it's going to allow you to share a single continuous conversation with every team in your business with the unified API native connectors to popular business applications like Slack. Everyone in your organization can get a single view of the customer conversation. Okay, so let's talk about some common use cases here. So for the purposes of today's demonstration, we're going to be focusing on an external business to customer experience for order support, and we'll show you how the customer would interact with a customer service agent. We're going to show you specifically how the unassisted bot conversation can transition to a live customer service agent interaction. We'll discuss the different information that the agent has available within the agent workspace. And then lastly, we'll briefly touch upon the ability of a call center manager or administrator to quickly access some of that data within the analytics dashboards baked into the Zendesk suite. There are plenty of use cases in addition to an order support use case. So Zendesk can be utilized for internal use cases such as an IT help desk or ITSM scenario. We can help for an HR specific use case as well, employee experience, and then other collaborative experiences as well, such as spreading across operations, marketing, legal, and finance. One specific feature here that's going to drive a lot of the demonstration is going to be our answer bot. And at this point, many of us have probably been accustomed to visiting a website and being greeted by a chat bot on the lower left or lower right corner of the homepage. The value that you have with an answer bot is you can deflect or relieve some of that pressure or requests from your customers before they have to interact with an agent. The decision tree for that bot can also be configured. So depending on how people reach out or type responses into the bot, we can customize what the bot is going to say and what sort of options we want to give available. For example, you might want the ability for the bot to go ahead and transition to a live agent, or maybe you're just building up your business. You don't have that many agents available. So right now the bot's just it's only going to be automated responses, and it's going to target the user to specific articles. And then lastly, with Zendesk, you are going to have the complete messaging solution. So you're going to be able to interact with customers across the web, mobile, and social apps as well. The idea is the conversation can be ongoing and continuous. So if somebody is reaching out through WhatsApp, we can still take that information, conversational history, and that'll still reside within Messenger if that's what they want to continue the conversation. The main value there is it's an ongoing conversation, so customers will never have to repeat themselves. All right, so with that, let's get into some of the fun stuff. Let's pop into the product here. All right, so in this initial demo sequence, we're going to show you what it's like for a customer that's coming to this retail site for an order. We're logged in as that customer on the top right. His name is Rick Sable. He ordered an item and he didn't see a confirmation email. So he's trying to understand what's going on there. Notice that on the site, we can have a different branded experience depending on the site that we're looking at. So we have an outfitter site here, home decor and electronics. And if I just click into each one of these, we can see that the user experience is going to be specific and tailored to that particular brand. So if you have different brands, we can actually segment that within the Help Center, which is also very powerful. Site is also scalable. So as we increase or decrease the site, the information is always going to scale, and it'll also be optimized for the mobile, for mobile as well. And we can go ahead and start searching for an item. So he's going to look for some information on how to track his order. As he's typing in words, the Help Center is intelligent to recognize and pull up articles regarding the words that he actually entered. So as you can see, it's auto-suggesting these articles. So let's click on how do I track my order. Okay, so confirmation email is sent. Clearly he didn't get the confirmation email, so he's going to need more assistance. But that does give you that first line of defense where the customer is able to at least attempt some self-service. And if they can't find what they're looking for, you can go out and reach out to an agent. We also have similar articles located here in the section here. We can also notate if this has been helpful or not helpful. Rick could submit a request from here. This would go to an email, or we can start that chatbot experience here on the bottom right. I trouble finding an order. Okay, so none of these are going to do it. So let's get in touch with a live agent. Now, if Rick was in a hurry, and let's say he did want to send an email, he does have that optionality here where he could just send an email, which would be the second option, leaving us a message. But this is of immediate concern, so he doesn't want to get in touch with an agent. So we'll click on live chat. We can have the department to be defaulted here. Right now, we do have the ability to click to the specific department. And I was just going to say, hi, I'm trouble finding my recent order. So this is going to kind of sum up the customer perspective of the demonstration, where Rick was able to reach out to an agent using the chatbot within the guide. But now let's actually pop over and see what it looks like from an agent perspective. Is this ticket or chat is incoming into their agent workspace? So I'm going to go ahead and accept this on the top. And we're going to be now brought into a ticket view where we have a ton of information. So let's just go through some of the things that we have available here. So we're tied to the specific brand, depending on the page that we're on. We can see who the requester is because he was logged in. We're assigned to myself in this case. And then we can have different forms particular to certain issues here. And depending on what the form is, we can have different fields populate and capture different bits of data. And then we can also specify a type, and we can also prioritize this if needed here on the left. And on the right, we also have a ton of different user information. So we have some customer 360 information, and these are additional apps that are overlaid onto the ticket. We can see that Rick doesn't have a loyalty status. He's a gold member, so we want to give him that white glove treatment. We can see how many orders he's had, his total amount that he spent with us. As part of this resolution for this ticket, if we did want to offer a discount code, we can generate a coupon code here on the fly, and that's now automatically populated here into the chat window. But we will do a different response, which I'll show you in a second. And then again, we have just additional apps overlaid here. We can see the 5 most recent tickets that Rick has opened, which gives us some context into his interactions with us. We also have built-in knowledge center here. So this might be helpful for the agent to look at. And then we just have some of that general information for Rick in terms of his email, phone number, what he's clicked on, the specific visitor path on the website, and then any prior interactions he has. So already we have a ton of context coming in for Rick. So the agent doesn't have to ask again, hey, what are you looking for? Or who are you, right? So at this point, we can just say, hi, let me check on that for you. And I'm just going to pop back here to show that the chat did go through. So we now have that back and forth interaction, and we can go ahead and kind of help service Rick here. In terms of a response, what we can do is we can apply what we have. We have what we call macros, and these are pre-canned responses. And this is helpful whether you have some new agents that might want a templated response they want to configure. Maybe 80% of the issues require one response. Why have the agent manually type it in? We can actually just have that be pre-canned. So in this case, we can service this by doing a pre-canned response, and we can say it's a backordered item. It'll be available in 5 days. And then we're going to go ahead and offer you a 25% discount. Now, if I did want to, instead of a chat, let's say this was more of a complex issue, we could go ahead and give Rick a call, and Rick could have also called in too, conversely. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and initiate that call. I'm just going to call my cell phone, and we can see that it is calling. So I'm not going to pick that up. Otherwise, I'd just be having a conversation with myself, but just wanted to show an additional channel there in addition to just chat. So go ahead and hang that up. But what that will actually do is it does do a recording of the call. So if there was actual correspondence, we can re-reference that call for a sentiment analysis or just for training purposes for the future to see how the agent did. But let's go ahead and actually kind of wrap this up and service Rick with this response. And Rick is happy with that resolution. Thank you. And then he can rate the chat as good or bad. And you can also leave a comment here. And that just can be inputted as feedback for the agent, which is good. So that wraps up that interaction. And then we can go ahead and submit this ticket. Now, since this is solved, we'll submit it as solved. But as you can see, there's other ways we can submit it as open, pending, or on hold. And then as I do submit it as solved, it is going to end the chat because we've wrapped this up. Okay, so real quick, if we go back home, we can actually see as these tickets are being aggregated into our agent workspace, we can come into this view where we can segment these tickets depending on the ticket type. So it could be tickets for today, tickets tied to delivery issues, returns and exchanges. It really doesn't matter. Whatever is relevant for your business, we can create those views so we can slice and dice those tickets. In addition to that, we can route certain tickets depending on the view and the types of agents that are available with particular expertise. All right, so we talked about the ticket. Let's also talk about some apps, and then we'll wrap up here with the Explore dashboard. Over here, we have our Zendesk app marketplace, where we have tons of third-party app integrations. I believe right now we have over 1,000. And most of these solutions are low-code or no-code solutions. For example, we have an app integration for Shopify. We have one for Salesforce. Really, if you have any questions on, hey, what do you guys integrate with? This is the first place you could come to and search for that. If there isn't an available integration that's already pre-built, that's not a problem, right? We are an open API solution. So as long as the system that you're also trying to integrate with does have an open API, we do have some options there for integration, depending on the particular use case. Zendesk Professional Services can assist with that integration. We can bring in a partner to assist with that. And then there are other third-party solutions that provide middleware for integrations as well. So depending on the use case, we can definitely help you out there. And then let's wrap back to our agent workspace and let's go into Explore. Okay, perfect. So let's go to our support dashboard. And this is going to help you illustrate the health of the business. It's going to give you those baked in analytics all from one system. Now, if you are using a third-party system such as Tableau, that's okay. We can go ahead and export this data to be crunched in those other systems as well. But the idea is from the get-go, we do give you something you can work with. This information can also be exported. We're not going to hold your data hostage here, but you can go ahead and export this at will to a CSV file, Excel, or a PDF. But some of the information that we do have here are how many tickets have been created, how many of them have been solved or unsolved, we can see the volume of tickets by the date, the channel that they're coming in, and then channel and date over here. If we keep going through the dashboard, we also have some efficiency metrics on the agent. So the first reply time median, and then for tickets by first reply time bracket. So if they've been replied to within 1 to 8 hours, within an hour, or are there some that are just outstanding that haven't been replied? So this gives you an idea of how well things are occurring within the business over time. And if these numbers are not up to par, we can start figuring out a way to make our agents more efficient with more training, or just making sure we're hiring better agents. So again, the main value here with the dashboard is it's going to allow you to keep your businesses in sync. Customers are going to be able to see trends happening across their ticketing system, and then find out information about the overall customer experience from the help center to the chat. Now, while those were out of the box dashboards, we also have queries. And this is going to give you just more granular control and allow you to customize more reports and data. And you can create new data sets and views using these queries depending on what you're looking for. So in conclusion, we showed you how Zendesk can reduce the customer effort to increase satisfaction. First and foremost, we gave your customers easy to use self-service tools through the help center and the chatbot. And then from an agent perspective, those tickets came into one centralized area, coming in through those various channels. In this case, we created a ticket from a live chat that could have been created from a phone call. It could have been created from an email as well. And then an admin can view all of that data using our Explore tool here, and kind of keeping a pulse on the health of the business. So with that being said, that's pretty much all I have. And if there's any questions here, I can go ahead and take it.
Perfect. Thank you, Ark, and thank you, Michael. Thanks everyone for, excuse me, for being here. And like Ark said, if we've got questions coming up, now's the time. We'd love to hear from you, any thoughts or feedback, or if you want to know anything more specific about Zendesk. All right, I see one in here from Ingrid. Can you offer any examples for the travel industry you can share? Maybe a call center in particular? What could that use case look like?
Yeah, I don't have anything off the top of my head right now, but on our website within the customer stories area, there definitely are some travel use cases, and I can kind of dig those up and send those out later.
Awesome. I think the cool thing about Zendesk is it can be utilized in a lot of different industries in a lot of different ways. And that segues well to our next question. Is Zendesk better for internal employee experience or for external customer facing experiences?
Yeah, it's good for both, honestly. I think, we started out more so as a more external use case because that's what's more common. But I think as the pandemic has happened and people have moved to digital in terms of like working remote, employee experience has become just as important. So it can be handled for both.
Awesome. Another question from Philip. What is the scale? Can it be limited to only a certain set of customers?
In terms of being limited to a certain set of customers, you mean only certain customers you'd want to allow to reach out to agents? Or I guess I need a little bit more context on that question.
Yeah. Okay, so Philip typically only supports a small group of people. So how would that work with Zendesk? Is that still something Zendesk can be helpful with?
Yeah. No, I mean, there's, depending on the type of plan, like we have different plans and pricing on the website, right? So if it's a much smaller use case, you obviously won't need as comprehensive of a solution. So yeah, definitely it doesn't matter if it's a small group or a larger group. We have you covered either way.
Michael, did you want to add something on that?
Nope.
Okay, just checking. All right, next question from Eric. How easily does it integrate with Jira? We're currently using it, but our engineering team heavily uses Jira for their work. So we'd want to make sure it integrates.
Yeah, we do have, we have a pre-built Jira integration. And then there's partners that we also have that expertise with that integration. So if that's something you're looking for, not only could we get you the pre-built solution, but we can make sure there's a partner that can actually implement it and kind of service that for you guys.
Fantastic. All right, Lou is wondering, can I track a technician's time spent on a particular ticket as opposed to just how long the ticket has been open?
Well, that's a good question. I haven't heard of that use case so far, but I'm sure there's a way that we can customize a solution to do something like that, whether that's having a way where we like create like a button where the technician hits the button to start and then stops it, and then it tracks it that way. And if it's something that we can't customize to do, there might be a third-party solution that does that already.
We have that.
They do? Okay, perfect.
Great, love the customizability. And then Nathan's wondering if there's a published list of RMM tools that Zendesk integrates with.
I'm not sure. I can do some digging on that.
We do have our apps marketplace as well, if that kind of goes along those lines, at least to get a rough idea of the different apps we integrate with, and we can find some more specific info as well. Fantastic. Any final thoughts or questions? Thanks all for asking away. All right, if anything comes up, feel free to reach out. And thanks so much for spending time with us this Tuesday morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. If you have joined us today, as Ark was mentioning about partners, if you've joined us, you've probably been interacting with a partner of ours already. And we have fantastic partners. So we'd highly recommend meeting up with them as they follow up with you on this event. Along with that, you can use your $25 gift card that I'll be sending out via Sendoso for attending this event and have lunch with them or with yourself. So I hope you enjoyed. Again, reach out if you have any other questions, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.